be denied bodies of flesh and bone. Those who remained neutral in the battle were cursed to be born with black skin. This is the Mormon explanation for the Negro race. The spirits that fought most valiantly against Lucifer would be born into Mormon families on planet Earth. These would be the lighter-skinned people, or white and delightsome.
What's going on YouTube? It's main man Uptown Jackson. I'm doing this video on behalf of the Facebook group, the Illuminated Ones, that I joined and I absolutely love. So I challenged them or asked them to pose 5 questions to an atheist. And that would be the basis of my first video for the group that Raheem, big shout outs to you, really wanted me to do for some reason. So I am going to try to make this a mix of telling you about myself and answering the questions so that it's organic, and then sometimes regimented like an interview so that the pacing doesn't get all boring. So I'm Uptown Jackson. I grew up in Virginia, went to church every week for 12, 13 years. And I, like a lot of people who call themselves atheists, probably became an atheist because I was so into religion. I was so into being a Baptist that I wanted to learn everything there was. And I guess the more I learned, the more it seemed apparent that, maybe I was looking at things wrong. And this is, after I had reconciled with the hypocrisy of the prototypical Southern Baptist preacher. And I had given speeches, I was a junior deacon, I had been counseled by my pastor, and the more I learned, the more I strayed away from my original starting point. So it started off like a lot of people. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm rolling a blunt. If you guys see my show, you know I'm a big pothead. So check out the Black Orchestra Pro channel for me and my co-host. But the more I learned, the more I had a problem with religion. So, I did the thing where I was like, oh, I believe in God, but I'm not down with organized religion. I played that card for a couple of years. I don't think that anything really triggered the decision for me to become an atheist. Once again, I think it became to where I kept saying I'm agnostic so much that I began to feel like being an agnostic was just sort of being like an atheist that wanted a back door. And I believe that saying I'm an atheist better conveys my conviction on absolutely how ludicrous I think some concepts in religions are, even though I have to repeatedly say that I do believe that religion itself, the concept of God itself, does a lot of good for people. But then again, so does meditation, and so does jogging. It's like, I obviously don't believe in jogging, but if somebody is gonna benefit from it, by all means, run your fucking heart out. And then I learned more and more about the world around us, and I had spiritual, which I guess is ironic coming from somebody who was touting themselves as an atheist, but bear with me, I had what you would call or consider spiritual experiences. And the more I learned and the more I experienced, the more I realized it wasn't religion or organized religion itself, it was we as humans got it really fucked up. We're just wrong. And I have come to the point to where I define an atheist or I call myself an atheist, because I don't believe, or I can't see the evidence for a deity or a group of deities existing beyond time and space being responsible for what a lot of people call creation. So I guess if you want to kind of split hairs and call me agnostic, I really wouldn't argue with it too much. But I believe agnostics are just lazy atheists that are scared of commitment. So I was agnostic for a while, and then I got married, and then I realized a commitment can be good. So I'm committed to the fact that I highly, highly doubt that there is a God or a group of gods. And I definitely haven't seen any evidence that I would call evidence to make me believe the possibility of such. Now, that's not to say that I'm conventional and I'm 100% Mr. Science, because I'm not, which may devalue a lot of what I say. And I'm cool with that because I'm comfortable in who I am. For instance, I believe that, there is a greater possibility that we are genetically engineered from an alien species and the indigenous primates of the earth than some God created us from any sort of creation myth that I've heard. Now, I'm probably one of the worst atheists that you're going to find, because I will admit that there are times, just recently, and I got a job, then I was like, man, if there is a God, man, I'm really asking you to come through. Now, that being said, I did immediately say, well, if I did get the job, it wasn't God, it was me being really qualified for the job and really having a great resume. So, yeah, let's get in with some of these questions. Now that I've explained how I define myself as an atheist and how I got to be that way. So, actually, the first question I am going to answer is not even about religion. Oddly enough, it's about Africa and if Africa can be unified as one country. Now, King, I'm going to answer this in two different ways. The first way, I'm going to answer it in the spirit into which I think it was intended. The second way is going to be how I would have wanted answered if I were going to be the one asking it. So in the first way, I'm assuming that you meant, is Africa going to come together as a black people and rise up and become unified and stake its claim as a superpower in the world? No, it's not going to happen. There's too many countries, there's too many personalities, there's too many cultures, and that coupled with just human nature, jealousy, envy, and greed, there's no way that landmass with that many valuable natural resources are going to be able to come together and unify, which it would be kind of cool if they did, considering, like I said, the great natural resources that can be found in Africa. Dropped a piece of weed. Now I'm going to answer it in the way that I would have wanted to answer it if I had asked somebody that same question. And that's like, maybe I really think the globalist elite, if they're successful in taking over, would carve up Africa and make that its own separate, I don't know how I heard it referred, but as a district or a sector or a region. So I think that yes, I do believe that there is a small group of people that are determined to cull the population of the world down to a controllable level so they can divide it up and rule it in a way that they see fit for the betterment of the advancement of the human race. I'm not going to repeat that. You can rewind it because I've already forgotten what I said. But I know that I was right in what I said because I liked it. And if I didn't like it, I'm going to edit it out so it doesn't matter. You won't even see it. So yeah, I do believe in what you would call an Illuminati or the New World Order. I personally don't like to give any of those boogeyman terms and just say they're globalists, because that's what they are. They are people who think that it should be one world. Which, from a science fiction aspect, I always thought that that's how it was in Star Wars. It's never this city, it's this planet. So, that being said, I think that if they're successful, that yeah, Africa's gonna be united, and I don't think they're gonna have a choice in the matter, and I don't think any native-born Africans will benefit from it. One down, at least 4 to go. Moving right along, and actually, because this one is kind of about religion, I am going to pull my phone out to answer it. And this one is from Harry Joe. What is your explanation for creativity if you don't believe in a creator? Now, once again, not quite sure because it's all Facebook, so I'll answer it in 2 different ways. Creativity as far as humans expressing themselves, as far as like art and music goes, I can't explain it. That's one of the beauties of the world, is that we see things and we hear things and we interpret them for our enjoyment. And a coping mechanism, I think it's all brain chemicals, where we have the ability to make a sculpture. I think it is the advanced workings of our brain. And I think that it can be broken down into biochemical processes and neurons firing, and a combination of that and psychology and how we grew up. I think that there's a reason why left-handed people get dubbed as more creative. Now, if you meant how is there a creation, as in the universe we live in, without a creator, which is also another very common question. If you don't look at the universe around us as creation, then we don't have a need for a creator. The universe is, and it is a marvelous, wonderful thing, but it doesn't necessarily mean that someone had to be responsible for it. This blunt is acting up, guys. So, for instance, I created this blunt. I made it, I crafted it. I love it, it's mine. Do I believe somebody created the weed that grew in it as far as a God creating plants? No. I believe that it is a very fortunate chain of events. And I don't want to say coincidences, because I think that things happen as far as creation and destruction in a way that moves our experience and our reality forward. So I believe that everything that was created has a creator. I just don't believe what people tend to dub as creation has a creator. And without that, then I really don't need to have a need for a God. So thank you, Harry Joe. That was a really good question.
To start the human race. Thousands of years later, Elohim, in human form once again, journeyed to Earth from the starbase Kolob, this time to have sex with the Virgin Mary, in order to provide Jesus with a physical body. And after Jesus...
Rhea, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, because I really love... You're one of the reasons why I stay in this group. What are your thoughts on the rift between original practices of the main religions and the modern adaptation of those practices? I think that's a great question. And I think that once we start adapting practices to modern times, rituals, philosophies, ways of thinking, I believe then that's when religion starts to kind of merge into philosophy, which I'm a big fan and a big proponent of philosophy and people thinking in different ways. One of the problems that a lot of atheists have with religion, and it's not a problem that I have, but it is an issue that I point out, and the reason why religion may not be the best way is science doesn't have a problem changing and saying that it was wrong. A lot of religious aspects can't do that because it destroys a lot of things that come before it. Like evolution. A lot of Christians can't buy into evolution because it discounts part of the Bible. But I personally think that for religion to survive, it has been very wise in keeping up with the times, so to speak. And while there is a great section of religion that still doesn't think that gay people should be married and still think that evolution is a myth and the world is 10,000 years old, there are enough Christians with counterpoints or opposing views to that to kind of give credit to listening to what Christians overall have to say. So I think that especially the Catholic Church is really good at it. I read somewhere recently where the Pope said that atheists can go to heaven as long as they have good hearts. That is awesome. Because that shows a flexibility with the times, that you can interpret the Bible in different ways. So I think if religion doesn't have that rift that you asked about, that it would have died off, because science is going to march forward, and for religion to survive, it also must march forward and at least be able to reconcile with things that science can prove irrefutably. Raheem, here we go. Can something come from nothing? This is actually a question that a lot of Christians ask, and I hear atheists say yes, and the issue is, or the answer as far as I'm concerned is, yes, something can come from nothing. It is my understanding, my very limited understanding of science, is that if you have matter and antimatter and put them together, they nullify each other out and they become nothing. So the theory is that that process has happened in reverse, and nothing can separate into matter and antimatter, which is what we're digging in right now. That's what we're living in right now, is a result of that. So, do I believe it? Yeah, it could happen. I don't know enough to refute it, but once again, more evidence than any religion has yet to offer me.
Jehovah's Witnesses hold the cross in contempt, feeling that it is nothing more than a pagan symbol used by apostate Christendom. Instead, they teach that at the completion of his ministry, Jesus died, not on the cross, but on an upright stake.
Second one from King Jaga. Do you think the world is being destroyed by humans, by the human race, by our way of living? And this earth we live wouldn't be a place for humans to live in some years to come. Yeah, I think that we are really irresponsible as humans as far as how we treat the earth. I think part of it is by design to get rid of a bunch of us, and part of it is just an unfortunate byproduct of the world we live in, and it's deplorable. I actually wanted to write a short story where God had created humans to wipe the earth clean and start over. Like the Ice Age, like the meteors with the dinosaurs. We were just a more interesting way to do it. But we were basically a cancer. When I think about the fact that there is no other species of animal on this planet that has to adapt the environment so much to fit its needs just for basic survival, much less our indulgences and comfort, that it's mind-boggling. No other animal, no other species that lives on this earth has to destroy its environment so much that it's out of sync with everything else around it. So I think that just simple asphalt, just driving on roads, is really part of the destruction, much less the cows that are farting and the big island of trash in the ocean. So yeah, humans are really fucking up this planet, and I really think that we as humans can fix it. It's just a matter of when do we want to. I don't know how much weed I have. But the one that I really wanted to talk about is his bringing up the issue of moral relativism. And I looked it up just to make sure, and it's a very broad umbrella, and I can't speak to that entire umbrella. So what I will do is I will speak to what I think morals have been derived from, because I don't think that they're divine inspiration, and I will kind of give you my outlook on morality. So I believe that, we knew not to kill and rob and steal and fuck other people's wives before the 10 Commandments. And the answer to that would be, well, yes, because God has written it on our hearts. And I think that's just funny. I just do. Now, I do think that morality is based on certain principles that have been eloquated by people like Jesus and Confucius, as far as do unto others as you would have them do unto you, and turn the other cheek. I believe that people are rational enough to be able to see what is good for the continuation and the advancement of humanity. I don't think that we need a Bible to tell us that. If you need religion to not kill and rape people, by all means, use religion to not kill and rape people. But I think that if people were to go around killing and raping people, that they would soon see that it was a bad idea. Because there are people like me that aren't Christian that will do what I have to do to protect myself and my family. And I think that would eventually restore some sort of balance, which is kind of leaning into what I believe in. I'm a very survival of the fittest sort of person. But that has been toned down with a lot of other things that I have grown to believe. I believe you reap what you sow, because it fits in with a lot of things that science has to say. What you get out, you bring in. And I don't believe that that's God. I believe that that's balance. And, that goes to the forces of the universe. So, Jordan, I don't think that you can, I find it very hard, and this is going to be cut because there was a lot of, I just paused for a long time, because I find it very hard to believe that people in religions that do a lot of different things that they themselves wouldn't consider moral if it weren't them doing it, are saying that people who don't believe in God at all have no basis for morality. When you look at everything from jihads to female castration to ritual rape to the Crusades to the Spanish Inquisition to Catholics boy fucking, it seems to me that as an atheist, I'm actually more moral than a good number of religious people. And while you can say that, yeah, there's bad in everybody and there's bad atheists and, there's good religious people, the fact that I never use the guise of me being an atheist to why I do something fucked up to somebody. And I do fucked up shit to people. But I never be like, well, since there's no God, this isn't really a sin, so smack your ass, bitch. I admit that, sometimes I'm a psychologically damaged person, or I am a petty or immature person, and I do things. It's not because I don't believe in God and there isn't a consequence. I just believe that I have things as a person that I need to work on. So the difference is things like circumcision, which is really child mutilation. The Arabs or the Muslims that do the female genitalia, cutting off the clits, to Christians that disown their family members for being gay. It's like these things I don't see as moral, yet they're all done under the name of religion. So when people of religion speak of morals, Jordan, especially something like moral relativity, which is such a broad umbrella, it's very hard for me to respond, because any response is going to weave and bob myself in a trap, because I'm speaking to somebody who, while you may be moral, the team you play for necessarily overall isn't moral. Or if I were to go by your morals, I would probably be just as or more moral as you guys, because there is no way I could ever justify owning a slave or beating my wife or not allowing a woman to speak in church or killing somebody if they were to leave their religion. Atheists just don't think that way. Or if they do, it's because they're fucked up people. I should say I don't think that way because I can't speak for all atheists. I can barely speak for myself. So I personally think that any religious person that brings up morals to me needs to better define the parameters of the conversation that they want me to answer, because if not, I just look at it as a trap.
Executes judgment over the world at Armageddon. He will destroy all but the faithful Jehovah's Witnesses.
And I can't be allowed to fall into that trap without doing things in a conversation or a debate or what have you that I wouldn't really like doing. Like, I don't like pointing fingers and being like, what about the jihad? But with such a broad scope of a question, being defensive that way kind of seems like it could be the best answer. So it's my second blunt. I don't know if you guys watch my show, which you probably don't, which you should. Black Orchestra Pro is the channel. But I generally like to go until I'm out of weed that I have rolled. So with this second blunt, I'm gonna start in by Jordan. You asked me basically what philosophy do I adhere to explain the natural world around me, and I don't have a particular philosophy that I adhere to. I have a set of things that maybe I believe because just like all humans, where I attribute to religion, I want it to be true. Maybe I believe that what I believe lies in between the gaps of religion and science. So I believe that things like love and jealousy and envy and murder and even anger and laughter and music, I believe these things are parts of forces of the universe. And with all of these forces, they combine to better move along reality. And I believe that this reality is made up of several layers or vibrations or primal forces like love and heat and light and anger and lust. So I don't really want to say that science is everything in cold hard facts and it's all evidence. I do believe that there is a reason why trees grow a certain way and no two snowflakes are alike. I believe that there's a reason why people can fall in love, and there's a reason why I love my daughter, and it's something that's beyond what science would even look for to explain. I believe that there is something in a poet writing a poem, or somebody singing a song and moving you. And I believe that whatever that force is, a lot of people experience it in religion, so religion becomes their reality. And I can say that I am still exploring these forces of creation and destruction, of evolution and, stagnation. So I don't really know, but I do know that I love the journey I'm on looking for these answers. So I don't know if that really answers your question, but I think Therefore I Am is a bit simple because I believe that rocks don't think, but they are. And I'm reading the big long comment about the philosophy one now, and I do believe there is something to be said about, and I quote, in which our perception only shows us a copy of the eternal forms. That part is kind of where, when I was talking about, or I don't know if I've said it yet in this video, but that is where the line between science and religion kind of that's where I live, to where I don't believe energy or matter can be created or destroyed. And I don't necessarily believe that humans are just things that are alive, have a living soul. I believe that we have an energy, and I believe in some cases that energy can remain or manifest itself in a way that would seem familiar to us, which is where you would get something like ghosts from. And once again, I don't have all of the answers. That's the great thing about being agnostic or an atheist or having doubts, is I don't have to believe in any one thing. I don't have to make my reasoning reach a conclusion. I can just follow my reasoning, and if I never get to a conclusion, then I never get to a conclusion. Oh, you know what? This will be fun. So this was my 5-question challenge. That's what I'll call it, the 5-question challenge. So I challenge Jordan Colby Cox, Rhea Terry, Harry Joe, King Jaga, Raheem Martell. I challenge all of you to make a blog answering some tough questions, challenging your beliefs or political ideologies. That's fun. They'll make it a challenge. I don't really expect you guys to do it, but there it is. This is Uptown Jackson. Once again, look at my videos on the Black Orchestra Pro channel. Follow me on YouTube. I really have fun doing this. I don't know if this is what you expected, Raheem. I don't know if this is gonna come out good at all, but the blunt just keeps on burning, so I keep on talking. So let's look and see. Yeah, Jordan, I really wish, well, I don't think I have enough book learning to kind of argue with you or debate with you, rather, on the point of morality. But I find the whole topic very interesting because, and I could do a whole nother video on how I believe that I'm more Christian than a lot of Christians. I think the only thing that excludes me from the Christian club, honestly, is the fact that I don't believe in God, the fact that I don't believe Jesus was the Son of God, and I don't believe that he rose from the dead and went to heaven. But I guess that's kind of what makes a motherfucker a Christian. But as far as love thy neighbor and turn the other cheek and, peace to some degree, and then whipping ass when you have to, the Christians are all about that. But yeah, I think that morals coming from somebody who believes in the Bible is kind of a skewed thing, because honestly, what do you consider immoral? Because most of the things that you might answer were probably found in some instance in the Bible in justified slavery, rape, murder. So, so much of this isn't gonna make it in. So Rhea, I think that the rift between modern day man, could you imagine if I could stone? Better yet, imagine if I could rape somebody and then only have to pay, 50 pieces of silver or gold or whatever it is, and then marry that person. There is a reason why a lot of people have a problem with the Bible, is because it was written with a particular time and space and set of, rituals and morals in place. They already had, so that shit had to be challenged. All right, guys. So the blunt is just about gone. So this is where I really am going to say goodbye. I'm very curious to see how this video turns out, because I really did just kind of smoke 2 blunts, go through my phone, and give my first impressions on the questions in my post. And honestly, I don't even know if it was 5. I hope it was 5. If not, then I guess I'm going to be forced to make a part 2. But I don't think you guys are going to want a part 2. Because you're like, this guy just gets high and says dumb shit. But that's Uptown Jackson. I get high and say dumb shit. So until I have some other dumb shit to say, YouTube, once again, follow me on Twitter at Uptown Jackson. Go over to the Black Orchestra Pro channel. Check out Darth Vader versus Jesus, any of our rap battle reviews, or my shit about the Illuminati, or any of the things that are on that channel. Until you hate me, peace.